Hey guys, another literature break for you this afternoon. This is a special one because this is a book by a friend of mine from Northwestern. And this is doG by Hlinak. So I'm just going to read a little selection because if I dig too far into this thing, there would be maybe some spoilers. So we don't want to go start too far into the story. So this is page 23. He spent the next hour scurrying out of the way of Gus's boot as he struggled to quickly learn the ways of the sea. Culann stopped to vomit over the railing as the ship lurched up and over 20-foot swells. A decade spent teaching To Kill a Mockingbird to a bunch of whiny little nose-pickers had done nothing to prepare him for life at sea. The combination of a hangover and seasickness cost him a good bit of stomach lining. Plus, the ship smelled like a can of tuna that had been left open for 3 days. He was sweating from the exertion and heat of the sun, but shivering from the frigid water that rolled over the deck. He didn't think it could be any worse until Gus grabbed him by the collar and hurled him on the deck. "Puke on your own time, greenhorn. We got work to do." "But I'm sick." "You can get sick all you want. Just pull your own weight. Otherwise, I'll toss you over." Culann rose unsteadily and returned to his place beside Frank, who shook his head. They were untangling the fishing nets and loading them into the net drum, a 15-foot diameter hydraulic spool used to pull in the nets. As soon as Culann resumed work, he felt the bile rise in his throat. He glanced over his shoulder and saw Gus staring at him. Culann turned around and vomited on the deck. Then he went back to work. "Attaboy," shouted Frank with a pat on the back. Culann threw up again. He was convinced he'd made a terrible mistake. It wasn't just the seasickness. His rubbery arms could barely lift the nets, torn skin hung from his palms, and his soggy boots were full of blisters. And then there was Gus. "My 15-year-old daughter is tougher than you," Gus shouted with a slap to the back of the head. "If I see you nurse those delicate little fingers of yours one more time, I'm chopping them off." Culann wiped his oozing palms on his shirt and reached for the net. When it slipped through Culann's wet, raw hands, Gus pounced. He grabbed Culann by the shoulders and kicked his feet out from underneath him. Culann crashed to his stomach on the deck, and Gus pressed the greenhorn's face into the net, slimy and foul-smelling as it was from the thousands of loads of fish it had hauled from the sea. "This is the net," Gus said. "Take a good look at it." The net was all Culann could see. "We use the net to catch the fish," Gus continued. "Without the net, we don't catch any fish. The purpose of this little pleasure cruise is to catch fish, right?" "Right," Culann said. "Very good, greenhorn. Now, if we don't take good care of the net, we won't catch any fish, will we?" "No." "That's right. Now, are we taking good care of the net when we drop it?" "No." "3 in a row. I knew you were smart." "Okay, genius. Now I want you to pick up that fucking net and hang on to it like your life depended on it. Because it does. You got it?" "Yes," Culann replied. He pushed himself up off the deck and started to rise to his feet. A wave smashed into the side of the ship, causing him to topple back over. "I thought I told you to get up!" Gus shouted with a cuff across Culann's cheek. Culann pushed himself up again. The boat swayed under him, but he managed to keep his footing. He bent at the waist to snatch up the net. Gus kicked him in the backside, and Culann pitched face forward back into the net. Culann saw how arbitrary this last act had been. It would not be sufficient to become a competent seaman, however unlikely that may be. He was not one of these men. He did not belong among them. Gus degraded him for the sheer joy of it. It seemed clear to Culann that he'd have fared better with Vic DeLuca. So that's a bit of doG by Hlinak. All right. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and take care.